Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Takashi Kawatani channel. My name is Taku Kawatani, cross-cultural management consultant, and I have worked in 20 countries around the world, mainly assisting Japanese firms and sometimes local government bodies and Western firms in the area of inclusive leadership, motivation, and engagement. And this program, Winning Together with Japanese, is a program to help non-Japanese people become closer, get past tatemae or official statement, and get inside the Japanese honne, the real intentions and emotions. And as I promised, I have today my very first special guest for this program, Mr. Ernie Espinosa. Welcome, Ernie, to this program.
Happy to be here.
Yes. Mr. Espinosa, or we call him Ernie, was former vice president of human resource and general affairs of Japanese high-tech multinational Fujitsu company. And Fujitsu has been my very, I have been a loyal consultant to Fujitsu expatriates and Filipino workers for a long, long time. And he was also one of the few Asian presidents of the World Federation of People Management Association, right? And he was a regular popular columnist about HR affairs and issues in the Philippine newspapers and trade journals. So, as I said, Ernie is from Philippines. Welcome again, once again, Ernie.
How do you feel? Thank you very much for welcoming me.
Yeah, sure. And tell us, where do you live in the Philippines at the moment?
Well, I live in Eastwood City, which is part of Quezon City.
Quezon City, all right. How's the weather there now? Is it raining season or what?
Nope, it's relatively fair and quite hot.
Okay, right. Mr. Ernie has been my kind of a mentor advisor because when I was first hired by Fujitsu Philippines, I had to do a lot of research to Filipino managers and Japanese expats. So he guided me along about the Filipino handling this training programs. Okay, today, as the title of the program, the title of the book and the program, the channel is Together, Winning Together, right? So I have two questions, my friends, to Ernie. One is from his vast experience of observing Japanese expatriates, Japanese businesses over generation and generation, many generations of expats, I believe, and also as president of the World Federation. How would you, let's focus on the Japanese Filipino per se. How would you say Japanese and Filipino managers or workers, how close, I mean, how much together they are in working together, Ernie?
Well, during my time in Fujitsu, I'd say if you will rank it from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I would say 7.
Oh, not bad. 7. So what happened to the remaining 3?
The relationship is not perfect. There are so many things to be desired and improved. Certainly, I focus on what you call form and substance. Form being the character of the person, and substance being the words the person uses.
Character and the words.
They are complementary.
Form and substance. So how were they in terms of the character?
In terms of character, the Japanese are very shy. They normally would not approach you. They are not so friendly. On the other hand, the Pinoys are very friendly and accommodating. There are instances when a Filipino doesn't know you, but he will approach you. And Japanese will not do that.
That's right. Japanese tend to approach people when they are already at ease with one another, spending some time
Yes.
together. But the Filipino
Yes.
don't mind that very much, an approach.
Yes, that's right.
Someone in your company told me, manager, not HR, but in production side, I believe, Filipinos are very emotional people, you know. So I was taken aback. When you say in English, someone is emotional, that's very negative. But he said, it's a good thing about Filipino character because emotions show in the face. You will easily understand what they are feeling. But the Japanese keep the emotions inside. Is that what you're saying, Ernie?
Well, there are the word is actually twofold. When you say emotional, the positive side is what you just described. You are transparent. You let your emotions, feelings, sentiments known through your facial expression and your bodily movements.
Right.
Whereas Japanese would find it very difficult. On the other hand, negatively, when you say emotional, Filipinos also tend to be sensitive.
Yes, yes.
They are what you call onion skinned or thin skinned. So they react to criticism. Whereas I think Japanese would take criticism in a good manner. They are not as sensitive as in the negative side as like the Filipinos.
Let's talk about one of the Tagalog words I like, pakikisama. Does pakikisama mentality of the Filipino help bridge the cultural differences, do you think?
Oh, yes. Pakikisama is related to teamwork. You have a goal, and then two or more persons volunteer and act willingly in order to ensure that you reach that goal. And so they would befriend the others because there is a saying, no man is an island.
I see.
So you cannot be successful without the help of other people.
That's something we can learn from the Filipino hospitality or team spirit, right?
Yes.
Okay, one incident, very briefly, something very memorable. I don't know if I can mention this story or not on a public YouTube situation, but this is not about your company. Some company in the Philippines, an expatriate in engineering side in the suburb of Manila, told me in person that he wants, I don't know if I can use this word, Philippine, allow me, no offense, but just quoting, we should flatten the country by dropping a lot of bombs in the Philippines, and then let the Filipino workers realize how hard it is to build a factory, take back monthly salary by your own efforts. And he complained to me, or confessed to me, why are we expatriates, foreigners, working day and night for the nation building of your country? You Filipino university graduates must be shouldering the responsibility to build your nation. Unless flatten the country, you will never realize. That was his real intention, emotion. But of course, I did not convey exactly to the Filipino managers in the training, but I rephrased it. It's a very strong emotion, but of course, he has never shared it with Filipino friends. Our attitude differences are enormous, and at least that is personal emotions built up inside, right? Do you have any comments about this story?
My take on that is when it comes to what you call team spirit, or in French, esprit de corps.
Esprit de corps.
Yeah, the Philippines pale in comparison to Japan, because while the Japanese are well disciplined, some Filipinos are not so disciplined.
Mm.
To each his own. They only consider themselves, and so therefore, the team spirit is not pronounced. It is not well known in the world that Filipinos can also be collaborative. I think that Filipinos can only be collaborative when based on the story, there is a danger. You know, if a danger happens or your life is on the line, then probably you will wake up from your deep slumber and suddenly ensure that you really try to build a nation and wake up.
Pull together under pressure, under crisis. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I see. Well, there are tons of other things, but the time is very short. If the listener don't mind, we can talk for 1 hour, but maybe not that second time. I think listeners, 日本人の方もね、これ聞いていらっしゃると思うんですが、今私ちょっと、めったにこういう YouTube では言わない話をしましたが、ある駐在員がですね、こんな国の爆弾いっぱい落とせと。で真っ平らにしろと、真っ平らにして工場建設がどんなに厳しいか、毎月お給料を持って帰るのがどんなことかを、君たち大卒の人間が責任持ってやらないとどうするんだってことを私におっしゃったんですね。で、なんで我々外人の駐在員がこの国のために日夜働くのかということをぶちまけたわけですが、そういう気持ちを持っていても、当然それをローカルの方々には共有できないので、僕に言ったわけですね。で、今、アーニーさんが彼なりのコメントをあれしまして、危機感が加わったときには一致団結するんだと、目覚めるんだっていうね、人によってはルーズな人もいらっしゃいますからと。Okay, I see. Our last point. Let's talk about the action.
Can I make one last point?
Yes, please, go ahead. Ernie, go ahead.
Well, initially I mentioned the form and substance, and we talk about, the character. The second one I would like to talk about, and I'm referring to substances, words matter. Words matter. Among the Japanese, for example, since Filipinos took up more from Americans than Japanese,
right?
They are more careful when it comes to words. But for example, I tell you, that, this Filipino is like this. And then you will say, I know. That phrase, I know, is a turn off to Filipinos. Instead of saying, I know, you say, I understand. Okay?
Right.
Because I know it's as if, I'm smart Alec and you're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
The other phrase that I usually hear from the Japanese is, of course.
Yes,
You don't say, of course, because you're practically saying that, of course, this is how we do it. It's common sense. So practically, you're telling the other person that he's dumb. So never use that.
Instead of course, how would you recommend to say?
Well, you can say, yes, I understand. Yes, that's true. Well said. I could have said it better. I couldn't have said it better than you. Things like those.
That's a small matter, but can make a big difference in how people receive people's messages. Well, Ernie,
and it will help in ensuring working together mutually between two cultures.
Very nice. Okay, just last 1 minute. Our last point is action for the listeners to take from today. After hearing Ernie's tips and observation, what can listeners start doing today, non-Japanese and Japanese, to bring whatever cultures together? Very briefly, please.
Well, I noticed that the world has turned around after the pandemic. We are back to zero. And generally, especially among Filipinos, I've observed that they became anxious. They became worried. They are worried. And so there is now a sense of being selfish, being not mindful, to each his own. So the only way is to ensure that people would speak up, be mindful, ensure that when there is a big particular project that they will be able to help, instead of just keeping quiet, like in Facebook alone. You come up with a inspirational post. What do you get? 2 likes. Why? Because people nowadays, because of technology, hate to read long posts, lengthy writing, or lengthy article.
True.
You don't do that. Back in the day, you know, I was reading 3 to 4 books a week. And you do not learn by just merely waiting for the answer. You research. So you have to have a more aggressive attitude, more mindfulness, more empathy. I think that's the word, what the world needs.
Okay. Ernie, thank you very much. I think today's discussion was very insightful, full of insights. And from there, we can draw personal actions, different actions for different people. I jotted down some keywords from Ernie. Probably I'll write an article about today's discussion in my blog very soon. Okay. Well, Ernie, thank you for your time calling in from Quezon City, Philippines. I hope today's listeners will have learned a lot from you. I wish you continued good health, and I know your country is in a very hard financial situations at the moment. I know very well. I wish the Filipino people all the best and good health under this pandemic. Thank you, Ernie, for appearing today. Thank you. Ernie, are you there? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think his screen has freezed. Thank you, Ernie. Thank you very much.
My honor and my pleasure, Tak. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Now, thank you, viewers.
Thank you too.
You're looking at my another book, Working Together. This is in Japanese. So this is a compilation of a training program, cross-cultural leadership programs I have conducted in a book form and come with DVD. I'm not trying to sell this but this is very good book, so I'm just cannot stop sharing this news.
How do I get a copy?
You get it on in Amazon JP. But anyway, this is in Japanese. So viewers, if you want to learn, you can acquire both business Japanese language together with the bad case and good case of cross-cultural misunderstanding or communication. All right. Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See you soon with a new episode. We have other guests in line. See you, and bye-bye, Ernie, once again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Very informative, very insightful. Thank you.
Bye.